Hello and welcome to the weekly wrap. I am your host today, Cody. Jordan will join us here shortly, but I figured I would get us started on time because last week we did not have a show abruptly. Um, I can explain a little bit about that. Or I might wait till Jordan. Actually, no, I'll just explain a little bit about that. So we work with a group called the USA Liberalists, of which both Jordan and I are members. And recently we have changed leadership to a new group and had somebody who's overseeing us kind of try to push us in a direction Jordan and I both were not comfortable with going. And when we were trying to talk about it, it got a little out of hand and we got locked out of the channel. So we were unable to record an episode last week, and Jordan and I didn't have time to uh, make up the episode sometime this week. So we just missed a week, and for that we apologize. It's not something we like to do. We like to usually give you guys a heads up if there's something going on, but this time it was a little bit out of our control. Also, bear with me. I am running everything myself today, so we will see how this goes. Hopefully it goes great and it's a good show. But thankfully it was a slow news week, so I didn't have to do a ton of editing or looking up news stories, but something that kept coming up in my news feed and on all my, what do you say, news aggregates and whatever, was this straight pride parade in Boston. So if you guys haven't heard about this already, where have you been? Number one. Number two, uh, for me, it's probably one of the funniest things that is, no, give me that. One of the funniest things going on right now. Um, because the guys, these super happy fun America guys, are pretty much just playing this straight up. They're not making it seem like it's a big troll, though it kind of is, or at least it feels that way. And people are freaking out about it. I've talked to some people about this, and they thought it was a stupid idea, and they got upset, and they couldn't really explain to me why they got upset about it. Just that it was a bad idea, and they didn't like it. They couldn't really tell me why. The best reason I got was that straight people never had to overcome some sort of oppression to become accepted. Now that is true to some extent, but it would depend on what you would consider some sort of oppression, because everybody has faces some sort of hardship in their life, and it just doesn't have to be based on your sexuality. Um, that was the closest thing that I heard for an argument against it that I actually thought was legitimate. Um, Other than that, I thought it was totally fine that these people, if they want to have a straight pride parade, then they should be more than uh, able to have one, and it shouldn't be a big deal. I think the reaction to this parade is the actual big deal about it, which I think most of you would agree with. Uh, it's not so much that there's a, because they don't speak about, they're not trying to take away anything from the gay pride parade or whatever, the LGBTQ pride parade. They just want to be a part of it, essentially. So they say here in their About section that Super Happy Fun America advocates on behalf of the straight community in order to build respect, inclusivity, equality, diversity, unity, solidarity, dignity, social mobility, empowerment, sustainability, justice, awareness, intersectionality, human rights, education, access, participation, dialogue, visibility, tolerance, and alliances with people from all walks of life. We encourage everyone to embrace our community's diverse history, culture, and identity regardless of sexual orientation. So it's pretty much the same as the Pride Parade's sort of statement, but just from a straight perspective. um, and it just seems like a fun thing. So if you're in Boston, I suggest looking these guys up. It'd be cool if somebody went down and let us know how it went. I kind of expect it to be a small group of people and a bunch of protesters, most likely getting out of hand at some point because there's no Nazis to beat up. It's usually how these sort of things go. Um, but I did read some articles about this, and apparently the mayor of Boston um, initially declined their petition for a parade. They also, but when they prepared to sue based on discrimination for sexual orientation, they backed down because they knew they would lose that lawsuit because those protections apply to anybody's sexual orientation, not just sexual orientations other than straight. And this sort of caused me to think a little more. I'm a huge thinker. I like to think about things and try to pick them apart. And there's a reason why these things kind of go viral and kind of get all this attention. And I don't think it has anything to do with straight pride necessarily, though that might be part of it. I think it speaks to something else. So there's something behind it. And for me, when I was thinking about this, oh yeah, they have Milo Yiannopoulos is going to be the Grand Marshal, which is excellent. um, but the one thing I was thinking about is an idea that it, like all my ideas, have probably been talked about and discussed before, or more competently elsewhere. But the idea that I was thinking of was this idea of inclusive exclusivity. It seems like a contradictory in terms, but if you think about it, it's, well, we're allowed to have a pride parade for every sexual orientation except for straight people. That's bad. Well, why is that bad? Why is it bad to have a pride parade for straight people? I understand that they haven't suffered the same thing as the gay community or the LGBTQ community in terms of oppression or uh, anything like that, but it's not taking away from their parade. It's not competing with their parade. They're not opposing the Pride Parade. They just want to have their own parade. So what's wrong with that? Well, some people will also probably try to do the same thing I did and say, well, there's something else behind it. But what's behind it is white supremacy, which I'm sure a couple news outlets did publish stories about that, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But it's not just pride parades; it's other groups too that have exclusive or inclusive exclusivity. It's they include everybody except for this one group. So the LGBTQ ever expanding acronym is a perfect example of this, where uh, it's everybody just gets included in here as long as they're not straight. You cannot be straight, which I wonder how that would work for uh, individuals who were um, like male to female, so they're currently a woman, but they like to date men. Are they considered straight? But they're trans, so I don't know. Who knows? It's all muddled. There's no order to any of it. um, but yeah, then there was something else too that I can't remember off the top of my head that I had a really good. I think feminism is kind of that way where we fight for everybody's rights. Well, then why do the feminists not like why do they hate the MRAs so much? Like if they're fighting for everyone's rights, it would only be natural that they would be partners as opposed to opponents. So if they're really fighting for everybody's rights and equality for the genders, then, well, one, the word feminism is exclusive to, um, it's woman-centered, I guess. It doesn't include men. Feminism, and I mean, I'm not a big fan of um, third wave feminism or the new feminism, whatever it's called. I do believe that feminism did have a role to play, but I think the activist machinery got built up and it's kind of outlived its purpose. So now it has nothing else to do but to try to essentially dominate. Because if feminism doesn't have problems to solve, then all the people who make a livelihood off of feminism have nothing to do. They have no, like their very identity is being questioned, which is tough. It's a tough thing, but at some point you just need to kind of let it go, I think. Um, I wish I could look. I can't see my notes, so it's a hard to see some of this stuff when I have to run it all by myself. But anyway, back to this straight pride parade. You can register for a float or as an individual. Some criteria: you have to be patriotic and pro-American, support the Constitution as the supreme law of the land, and do not discriminate based upon race, ethnicity, or skin color. So, but they're bigots. They're just a bunch of bigots. um, they have a meme here, and they also have a straight pride flag, um, which they were asking, I believe, to be flown over uh, City Hall during their parade, which was scheduled to take place in August, late August, but that has been denied by the City Hall. So here's the straight pride flag if you guys want to, you know, represent, I guess. um, ah. So yeah, that's the straight pride. I'm gonna see if I can find my notes. So hold on. I'm gonna take you behind the scenes quickly. It's blank. Funny. Yeah, it doesn't look like I have those here. So anyway, it's an interesting idea, and I was gonna run it by Jordan, but he recently started a new job, so he's working late. He's working hard for that money, and hopefully we can get either he can get a new schedule or we can change the time so that we can both show up here reliably because we recently switched to Fridays and we don't want to keep changing things, but sometimes you got to make some changes in order to get things done. And but you can go to superhappyfunamerica.com. It's great to be straight. You can go here and check it out if you want. I'm sure everyone's seen this by now. Let's see, what was the other thing? Notes. Oh yeah, the Vox Adpocalypse. So if you haven't heard about this, again, I don't know what rock you've been living under, or you're probably just not that into YouTube. But essentially, Carlos Maza started some drama with Steven Crowder and tried to get him kicked off the platform. And when YouTube basically told him, no, we're not doing that, he essentially tried to organize a media attack on advertisers. So to me, this is a strange thing that there's a large section of the media who are essentially acting as their own like collective. Um, they realize that they have power as the media, but they are wielding it for, I guess, personal gain. They have it's like the old Spider-Man saying, with great power comes great responsibility. It's like they've accepted the power, but they don't really want anything to do with the responsibility of that power. And that's sad because they're supposed to be, the media is supposed to act as sort of like a check on the other, I guess, pillars of society. So they're supposed to like want to expose like corruption in the government, but they just appear to be acting in their own self-interest. And this is a perfect example of that because I was watching Tim Pool, and it was also mentioned, I think, on a Sargon video where they were talking about how the journalists, I guess you could call them, quote unquote journalists over at Vox, they're in talks with Vox, with their union, to essentially get higher pay, and as a way to kind of attack Vox, or attack the company that they work for, is they are going after their advertisers, and a lot of the advertisers that they get money from are on YouTube. And so Steven Crowder isn't necessarily the target, or conservatives aren't necessarily the target. The target was Vox itself, but a lot of other channels are kind of getting caught up in this struggle. So for us, it doesn't really mean anything. We're not monetized. Maybe we'll probably get have to be more careful about what we're saying, but we haven't seen anything happen yet. We'll just have to wait and see. I don't think it'll really impact us because we're pretty small, and I don't think they really have time to check everybody. So it's just a lame thing to do on Carlos Maza's behalf. It kind of reminds me of the postmodern sort of idea that Jordan Peterson will talk about, that the only thing that is real is power, and that's the only reason people do stuff is power. And so he's exercising power over I guess, the media to try to just essentially do what he wants. And this guy, I don't know what it is. If you ever read Thomas Sowell's books, like Intellectuals in Society, and it it just kind of seems like these intellectuals kind of have like a bone to pick with the rest of society. Like they feel like that because they're so smart and that they can do things so well that they should be in charge of everything, when in reality they don't recognize their own limitations, essentially. Is they think that if they could just be in charge and everyone did what they said because they're so smart, that things will be better. Well, like it'll be better at some points, maybe in the scope in which they are capable, but that leaves 99.9% of everything else to just go to crap because they honestly have no idea. And I'm not saying all intellectuals are that way, but there are some. And I think that's why a lot of intellectuals are drawn towards socialism, is because it's a way for them to sort of exercise this belief that they they will um, that they'll be able to make the world better if they were just the ones in charge. And it's kind of scary. I was talking with somebody on Facebook today about at what point would you consider overthrowing the government. And for me, that's not an easy answer. It's something I've thought of. I would like to know where my limit is, personally. um, it's it's not easy to answer, and I don't think I'm anywhere near that stage. And so it would have to be something pretty, I guess, pretty big or pretty serious before I considered something like that. But I don't know. Like it's a scary thought because like when you're younger, or it's like funny to kind of say, oh yeah, I would totally, you know, oh, if this thing passes, that's it. It's too far. But like most of the time that happens and people just grumble about it and then go about their daily lives, because America is actually a really great place to live if you think about it. Like we can we can be mad at each other, we can yell and scream at each other, we can have protests go wrong and stuff like that, but at the end of the day we can all go home, we can all go to the grocery store and buy food in peace. um, the majority of us can go out to dinner and eat in peace. um, but if you're wearing like a Trump hat or something and you're in the wrong part of town or whatever, it's getting harder to do that. And I don't like that. I don't want that creeping in. Um, but it has, and the people like Carlos Maza, who are just, they lack any sort of foundational principles. For them, it's just about, or it seems like it's about self-interest, which most people are self-interested, so that's not completely terrible, but it's whatever feels good now is what I'm going to do. And that's not something I would really, not a way I would really recommend living your life. It might work for, 5 years, 10 years or so, but once you kind of get a little bit older, you realize that it's not going to work out in the end. So, I was hoping Jordan would show up by now, but I guess not. So I'll just keep talking at you guys. And if it's a short episode, I apologize, but at least we got one out to you. And I don't know what's wrong with the video quality, um, but hopefully it kind of works out in the playback. The stream is still up, but anyway, we're still figuring out the bugs, and Jordan's better at that than I am. But we will carry on. So another thing in the news was, which started to pick up traction this week, were these tankers, these oil tankers that were fired on um, in the Gulf of Oman. So I got the New York Times pulled up here, the failing New York Times. And this is the second attack on oil tankers in a month or so. And this time there were 2 oil tankers attacked. The United States believes that these attacks were made by Iran. And the last time this happened, they also, made the point to say that this is definitely Iran doing it. And you saw some British general or military person, I forget who, was saying, well, we don't know if it's Iran. And then the British, I guess, not the prime minister, but a higher ranking official said, actually, no, it does look like it's Iran. So it does look like Iran's trying to do something. Now, what they're trying to do, it's not too clear. If you listen to Ben Shapiro, he believes that they're trying to essentially provoke the United States into a sort of like to take a confrontational stance so that they can unify their country, because there's currently protests and um, problems going on with the current regime. But I don't know if this, because if you think about it, Iran's navy, like their military might have a lot of people, they might have a lot of soldiers, but they're nowhere near as effective as U.S. soldiers, and they're nowhere near as technologically advanced, I guess. And Iran barely has a navy to worry about, so it wouldn't be, let's just say it wouldn't be a fight that they could expect to gain anything from, unless they want regime change. Then I guess they could have that. And that could be, I mean, who knows. Iran does, we'll talk about it in a little bit, but they do go on to say that they believe that these are false flag events. But this was day. These explosions, they were basically whoever they were basically came up and which I believe they're the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. They went up beside these ships and placed mines. They have a name for them, these mines. They placed these mines anyway. And I don't think anybody died, but the ships were disabled. But Mike Pompeo, the Secretary of State, he said that the American intelligence agencies concluded that Tehran was behind the disabling of both ships. So he called out the weapons that they used, these mines, the expertise and resources required, and the similarity to other recent attacks attributed to Iran. So it seems to be a pattern, and they don't do anything militarily for no reason. They have to have some sort of end in mind. I don't think they just go, well, today we're gonna poke the bear. So let's do that. Sounds like fun. I don't think that's I don't think that's what they're doing. um, Now the New York Times kind of plays this down and try to make the Trump administration look bad by saying that there's no real evidence to support any of these claims, um, which is kind of funny because they didn't really care about evidence when Kavanaugh, and then we had the Kavanaugh hearings. Evidence.
Hey,
What's up, Jordan?
I finally made it.
Hooray! I've been dying out here. I'm just
I
just
thought
kidding.
Rob was helping you.
No, I don't.
Oh, I thought could have sworn Rob said he wanted to participate.
Maybe he did, but we have the new Discord channel, so maybe he didn't know how to get in here. Anyway,
Oh, hold on. I can make him an invite.
yeah,
There
invite
we
him
go.
in.
Yeah, I'll get him. I'll talk to him right now. Get him set up.
Cool.
But anyway, where were we? Sorry about that.
I was just talking about these tankers that were attacked in the Middle
Oh
East in
yeah, the
Iran.
ones that the one that supposedly or allegedly, I suppose is the right way of putting that, got attacked by Iranians.
Yeah, the United States says that's what it is, and there's some British officials that also say that too, but the failing New
I don't
York
know.
Times doesn't believe it.
Look, I mean, I don't know about the. Nobody cares what the failing New York Times thinks, especially after Iraq when it comes to war stories. But uh, yeah, I don't know, man. Like every time they fucking say for sure, oh, they definitely did this. It's like we don't know that about Assad. We didn't know about that about the WMDs. We never seem to have any fucking clue what's happening in the Middle East. So I'm not sure why we're so certain now. That's all I'm saying.
Well, for me, it's like the media. The media has, I don't know if they have an agenda, but they have a bias for sure. And how much of that was, I don't know, bias against President Bush? I mean,
Sure.
what evidence do we have that he didn't have evidence? I guess.
I mean, he might have had evidence, but like every report I've seen said that eh, you know the CIA had some intelligence, sort of, but they just sort of went with it because it was the best answer they had. They sort of suspected it was actually the Saudis, but I mean, it kind of just feels like most of the time when we're doing this sort of thing, it's a lot of guesswork. Because I mean, realistically, it is. It's not like
Well, yeah,
like if we knew the
that's
it. I mean,
intelligence.
yeah, like that's part of intelligence. It's like if we knew the Iranians were about to attack a Japanese vessel, I feel like we would tell our allies, Japan, hey, heads up, but we didn't, and they didn't know. So yeah, uh,
Well, they
is
probably have lots of like, um, I guess
leads
yeah, leads. That's a better way. Leads. They have hints. No, leads on threats that never
they've
pan
got
out.
clues,
Right.
fucking Dora the Explorer style.
It's blues
Where's the
clues.
terrorist plot's gonna happen? Point out the terrorist plot. There it is.
And she stares at the screen uncomfortably for 3 minutes.
Right. You just see WMDs going off behind her.
Right. Well,
Oh
this
God.
this they have.
I just imagined that Dora the Explorer episode. It was a bad image.
Well, I'm just thinking. If if our intelligence agency and some other intelligence agencies all have the same, like independently verified the information, I'm more likely to trust it. Um,
Mhm.
but I don't trust the media to convey that message necessarily,
No,
or
no.
at least convey it honestly.
I'm gonna hold out judgment for what I actually think happened for like give it about 2 years. Let's see if we go to a war with them.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, let's see how the 2020 election
Yeah,
goes.
exactly.
We might be in a war with Russia by then,
Oh God.
which would mean I'd have to join the army.
Fuck's sake.
Because
Me too. My fat ass would have to join too.
I always said that if we go to war with China or Russia, then I'd probably join the military. But
They'd probably just conscript everyone if it got that bad.
I would just join. I wouldn't wait for conscription. I'd want as much
I
training
would.
as I could possibly get.
Are you fucking kidding? I would. Me and my man titties don't belong in China.
Hey, man, I'm down like 30 pounds from my diet. I
I'm
don't
glad
get
you
as
are. I'm not.
tired running around anymore. It's great. I can do like 3 pull-ups. I'm in the prime
Hey
of my
man.
life.
Hey man. Hey man. 3 pull-ups. That's better fitness than you think.
I know. I 30 pounds ago I could barely do one. And that was kind of like if I kind of jumped a little bit
Mm.
and cheated it, but
Uh-huh.
now I can like be hanging and do a pull-up. It's pretty
Oh shit.
it's pretty I'm getting swole over here. It's amazing how much more you can lift when you aren't carrying around 30 more pounds.
Yeah, it's amazing how much stronger you actually are when when you're
Right.
not being weighed down by a fucking spare tire or three.
Yeah, so with these tankers, essentially what happened is well, there's video of it, which I don't think I
Mm-hmm.
have, or maybe it's up here at the top. I never actually watched this. We'll see if this is the
Here.
video of it.
Let's see. Iranian tankers attacked. Since we don't actually know what happened, video. Ba, 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 ba. That's Fox Business. Do I have
Yeah,
anything that's just
this is
the
taking
actual video?
forever to load, but I think
Here,
this is
I'm.
the
Oh,
video, but
oh.
it's taking a while to load up. Anyway, there's video. Go look for it. It's out there.
I found what appears to be a black and white version
Yeah.
of Iranian forces. Oh, this is from. Oh, no, this is from June. Okay.
Well, they have anyway.
I found one with scary music and weird like crossfade edits.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun,
that's
dun.
actually it. That's the
And
music.
it's got
Do,
like
do, do,
words
do,
and
do,
stuff.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it has like the. It looks like it has like a static crossfade.
It's the Vox edited Trump anti-Trump video.
No, it's the South China Morning Post.
Oh wow.
Here, let me send it to you. I'll put it in the recording chat over on Discord. There you go.
Now I gotta find it.
It's in the text channel.
Well, I found it, but I just don't know how to like play it on here.
Oh my god. Okay.
There it goes.
There you go.
You can't see it, but you can hear the music.
You should be able to open it up in YouTube. Do you see like when you play the video? Do you see where it says YouTube in the lower right hand corner?
No, because everything like squished over.
All right. Well, regardless. Okay. Whether if you can't see it, I don't know what he's showing. I need to check on it. I'm gonna pull up the stream.
Here, I'll get it. There you go. Now you guys can see it.
Yay!
It's the scary music.
Scary music. Are you actually streaming?
Yes. I should be. It says it's got video output low, but I am streaming.
Hold,
It's just not great quality.
hold on. I'm gonna go check the live streaming area. Okay, so yes, you are live. All right.
This is like creepy black and white, creepy ass. Nobody died. Just want to throw that out there. Nobody died, but hey, at least we can play videos now. I don't know how great they'll be, but hey,
Right.
that was cool.
Oh,
My
I never gave you the updated. I never gave you the updated
no,
overlay, did I?
no, that's okay.
Damn. Well, okay. I'll make sure to send that to you. I'll get it posted up in the Discord channel so you can nab it.
Yeah, I'll grab it later. Um,
Yeah.
the funniest, I guess the funniest. This isn't really funny. Attacking
Oh,
oil
it's
tankers
hilarious.
isn't funny, but the part
Oh,
that I
hilarious.
found
My
like
favorite.
hilarious was that the United States, the U.S., the acting U.S. ambassador, because sadly Nikki Haley is not the UN ambassador anymore, and I cried a little. But anyway, the acting United States ambassador, he told the other members of the Security Council that Iran was behind the attacks, and
Mm.
Iran, of course, was upset. And so they issued a statement afterwards denouncing the quote inflammatory remarks by the American representative, and he called them part of quote another Iranophobic campaign. So apparently, people
I'm sorry.
criticizing you,
Specifically, Iranophobia is a thing.
yeah, all you have to do is
Huh.
just attach like whatever you belong to and phobia, phobic. So
Neat.
I guess people can be conservaphobic, Republican phobic,
Oh,
Republiphobic.
people are definitely conservaphobic. That is
Yeah.
100% a thing.
Well, I watched a I watched a video. All right, now we get into digressing. I watched a video
What
that was like
are you talking about?
coming
This
out
is
in
totally on topic.
2019, and it was
Hmm.
like a guy telling his friends that he's conservative, and basically who's like, we can tell each other stuff. We're friends. And they're like, yeah, we're totally inclusive in our friend group. And then he's like, I'm conservative. And then they're like, you're
Oh, I
joking,
remember that
right?
video.
And they totally got pissed at him and like walked out. It was hilarious. I shared it and then my wife like sent it to me over Messenger and I'm like, yeah, I'm the one who you got that from. She knows I find those things funny, so she's awesome like that.
Yeah, that's cool.
Um, but yeah, there's not really. I mean, there's a bunch of other stuff here that goes into how. I mean, the failing New York Times definitely likes to take up space. Um, but
They definitely enjoy taking up space.
well,
That
like
is true.
the point of like the interesting and like good parts of the article aren't until like 5 or 10 paragraphs in. And so you don't really get to like the point. You get to all the like pandering and stuff at the beginning, and then you get to the point finally towards the end. But anyway, like they go through Trump withdrawing from the um, Iran nuclear deal, and about how um, he's increased sanctions on the country, and you know, basically he's standing up to them. But in a tweet last month, he said, "If Iran wants to fight, that will be the official end of Iran. Never threaten the United States again." And like
Yeah.
supposedly you're supposed to like that's bad thing to say, I guess. I don't know. I thought it was like fuck yeah, damn straight. America.
Oh God. Oh, I was about to say the stream. Man, how is your stream output this low?
I don't know. Like
It's not receiving.
we need to look at it and like maybe I'm doing something wrong.
Well, because you're 50 up and 50 down, so you should have enough.
Yeah, it's probably something to do with the settings on OBS. I
YouTube is
don't know.
not receiving enough video to maintain. Okay, I'll do some research
Yeah, I am
because
terrible
in a
with that.
pinch we do need you. As I was saying, in a pinch we do need you to be able to set up the stream, like at least just be able to run it. That's all I need you to do.
Well,
Let's
yeah,
see.
I can run it, but it just says it's not receiving enough
Stream
video to maintain smooth streaming.
receiving.
And my CPU says it's at 48%, and I'm at 20 frames per second. Talking shop.
Yeah. Sorry,
It's
guys.
it's
All right,
all
back on topic.
it's all in the quest for providing you a better streaming experience. So hopefully you'll bear with
Yes.
us. That's our ultimate goal.
Someday.
Did we want
Someday
to?
over the rainbow.
Yeah, there wasn't much more on this other than tensions are heating up between Iran and the United States, and the Japanese Prime Minister Abe, Shinzo Abe, I believe, he tried
Mhm.
to meet with. Let's see, where is it? It's here somewhere. I think I passed it. Yeah, man, my internet for some reason sucks. Anyway, he tried to meet with Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, Iran's supreme leader, and deliver a note from President Trump. And he said,
It's a
"I do
long
not,
name.
I quote, I do not see Trump as worthy of any message exchange, and I do not have any reply for him now or in the future." So apparently, he's very progressive.
Well, when his country is getting bombed to hell because of that sort of attitude, I mean, I hope he remembers that moment.
Right? Does he think like Russia's gonna have his back or really do anything for him?
No, Russia's not going to start as like a third world war over Iran.
Yeah, I don't think.
Like, there's no fucking way. They're not, like they want to play like Russia wants to play patty cakes with the United States. That's what Russia wants to do. They want to have just enough of an army that they've got enough teeth that we don't want to mess with them, but they don't actually want war. The
Yeah.
only way Russia's going to get involved in a war is either through an alliance or if we attack Russia. That's it.
Yeah, and I think after World War One and Two, people kind of realized those sort of alliances aren't the best. Where if someone goes to war, you go to war, your allies all have to jump
Yeah,
in. Not the best kind
yeah.
of alliances to be in.
I mean, those sorts of alliances, in theory, maintain the peace because no one wants to go to war. But if a war does happen, it's a giant clusterfuck.
Well, yeah, I mean we do have what is it, NATO?
Yeah,
So
yeah. Like the U.S. actually is involved in one of those treaties. I don't know if Russia is in any sort of like war alliance
they
with
have
any
the
countries.
Russian version of NATO.
Do they?
I don't know. I'm sure that they do. I'm not up on Russian politics.
Gotcha. I thought Russia just was like standing alone and like sort of with China out of a relationship of convenience.
Well, I think they have countries in their sphere of influence. Like Russia is a large country, and they do have some economic power, and so it's do you want to
Hmm.
partner with the United States or do you want to partner with Russia or China? And so I'm sure Russia and China have built alliances with people who find it advantageous to be with them as opposed to the United States.
I mean, sure, but who are we talking about? Yemen? I don't care if Yemen joins in the like
North
Third World
Korea,
War. Oh, fucking North Korea. They know if they ever actually fire any of their nukes, they are going to turn into glass in about 30 seconds flat.
well, yeah,
They know that
and
for a fact.
we'll probably shoot their nukes down.
No, I'm
Hopefully,
saying we would nuke the whole fucking place, and they know it.
I would
Like
hope.
America is not. I mean, especially with Trump in office, do you think if we actually like in a situation where we actually got nuked, do you think Trump is hesitating to start or just throwing nukes everywhere? I don't personally.
uh, well, Trump does seem more like a, I don't want to say isolationist, but
He is, but
he's
he's
not really
also
like,
he's
he doesn't really, I don't think he wants to go to war, but I do agree that does not, he's not afraid to do it.
right. Like I don't think he's looking for an excuse to start sending out nukes, but I also don't think he's scared to.
Right, yeah.
Is basically all I'm saying. Like I really don't think that Trump would let us get nuked and it just be like, well, I mean, let's continue the peace talks. We'll see what happens.
Well,
Like,
we are a racist sexist, homophobic country. We probably deserved
I'm
it.
sorry for being a white man. We probably deserved the nuking. Wait, which city got nuked? Was it a black city or a white city? White city? Okay, hold on. We're a racist country and we deserve to get nuked. I'm sorry.
Was it,
Like I don't think that's gonna happen.
well, did the city vote for Trump? I don't know.
If it did, he has to apologize twice.
You know, if it was
Once
like,
for
if it was LA, the New York Times or somebody would be like, this is a plot by Trump to win the 2020 election.
fucking we get nuked and it just like coincidentally happens to be like Portland, San Francisco, New York City, and LA only that get nuked.
Right, the big cities.
Right, just to have Trump come on the TV, shrug his shoulders, and be like, "Well, I mean,
The elections have to go
glass
on as
glass half empty,
normal.
glass half full." Yeah, glass half empty.
Did we
You
really
know, like
lose?
why somebody freaking?
No, I'm not we're not advocating for
Yes,
that to
yes, we can't
happen,
let fucking
but
we can't let LA
especially
get nuked.
especially because I live super close to Portland and I probably would have to start
Okay, fine.
eating my
All right, no
dogs.
Portland nuke, no Portland nukes,
Well,
because it's
Portland
gonna turn Cody. It's gonna turn Cody into fucking Mad Max version of Cody.
Portland is like it is a small city. I'm going to just say that it's a big city for Oregon. It's probably the biggest
Sure.
city in Oregon. But if you put it next to like LA, it's like tiny. It's super
Yeah.
small. So I don't think they would be too interested in hitting that. But you know, who knows? I mean,
It really, well, I mean, in some hypothetical, theoretical case of them actually nuking the United States, which I don't think they would do, especially not preemptively, they would be fully aware that'd be the worst decision of their lives. Um, it would be really kind of down to what they're actually trying to accomplish. Because I mean, if it's military, there are a few cities that they might want to target. Um, all along the Californian coast. There's a lot of like base cities. San Antonio is actually got a lot of different bases here, so that'd be a good target. Atlanta would be a good target. New York would also be a good target um, from like a military standpoint. But I don't. Well, then again, if they're actually going for the nukes, yeah, I guess they would just be trying to win the war at that point, huh? Just trying to win it as fast as possible.
yeah, that'd be the goal. Um, but these attacks, um, let's see, what does it say here? That the shipping that goes through the Straits of Hormuz, like some 30% of the world's crude oil passes through there. And
Uh huh.
so Iran, and this might be just like an economical, like an economics thing, where
Mm-hmm.
they want more money, and so if people think that their supply is going to drop because there's a war or there's at least a threat of a war or these tankers are not safe, then prices will go up and Iran can charge more for their oil. Um,
Dude, how many Middle Eastern dictatorships do we have to overthrow over oil for these guys to learn?
I don't know, all of them. We should
Like
just
Jesus Christ.
let Israel take over. Like they run it better, I guess.
Fuck's sake. I mean, to be fair, Israel is like, not. This isn't even me criticizing Israel necessarily, but it is kind of like a military state. So I don't know if Israel running things would actually improve things, but yes, okay, it would probably be better than what's currently happening. But Jesus
Well,
Christ,
they have to be a military state.
I'm
Like,
I'm aware, but like most states have had to be military states for most of their existences, and they've been run to greater and lesser degrees. Like I don't know
right.
if they need to be quite as heavy as they are. Maybe they do. I don't know. Like I haven't studied Israel, so I'm sort of just a boob talking about this. But still,
I'm pro Israel, but that's just me.
yeah,
I don't think I'm not pretending that Israel is perfect or that they do everything
no,
right, but I do think that Israel is probably one of the better nations. Plus they're a US ally.
true. All right, looks like the stream
But
is
yeah,
back and healthy.
hooray for now.
I'm gonna go look up the YouTube FAQ on streaming.
Yeah, we'll need to work that out.
Yeah, this is
Um,
like I said, this is a work in progress. The fact that you can do the stream and it actually functions, huge improvement.
right, like I'm
I will
plugged
take
in
it.
and everything, but I don't know.
Are you
Last
still on
time
Wi-Fi or are you wired in?
I'm wired in, but last time I tried to check my speeds, it said that I have like a like I got a new security software, so maybe
Sure,
that's screwing with it a little bit. I don't know.
it's possible. I don't know. We can figure that out later.
Yeah. Um, so before we go on to the next topic, because I'm having a hard time looking at my notes, I did get a new monitor, but I only have one, so I can't like look at a bunch of different things. But I wanted to get your opinion on this straight pride parade. I already talked about it, but
Sure. Um, I might be disappointing you a little bit because I just don't care.
that's the
Like
correct
I know
opinion
that's
to
sort of
have.
a
I
huh.
said that's the correct opinion
Sorry, I
to
think you
have.
cut out for me a little bit.
Oh, I said that's the correct opinion.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I'm trying to figure out what everybody's like upset about, and it just seems to be like they think it's attacking gay pride, and it's uh, like if they want, like, why is anybody shocked that after how many years of gay pride, somebody finally says, "Hey, why not a straight pride parade?" And it's like one with 20 people being led by a fucking troll. Like seriously,
Right.
it's the only for any people that are like, "Oh my god, the straight pride parade is like is homophobic." Bleh. The only reason anybody cares about the straight pride parade is because of pride. The only reason anybody cares about the straight pride parade is because a whole bunch of like super like lefty pride people were like, "Oh my god, did you see this straight pride parade?
Right.
Did you see the thing?" It's like that's the only reason anyone cares. If you guys hadn't brought it up, I wouldn't even know about it. It was a small thing that was going on in Boston that nobody gave a shit about until you guys got involved.
Well, yeah, I said that it was that it wasn't the Pride Parade, it was the reaction to the Pride Parade that was the point of the Pride Parade or the Straight Pride Parade.
Yeah.
It was the reaction, and for me, like I was trying to think about because I was talking to somebody about it, and I was talking to my wife about it, and she didn't like the idea because she's a regular person and doesn't she doesn't see the point,
Hmm.
which I agree. There really
Look, if you
isn't a
don't
point,
look,
but
no, I actually agree with that. Like, if someone's just saying, "I just don't get why there's a straight pride parade," okay, fair
right.
enough.
And she was like the best argument I had against it is that well, straight people have never had to, I guess, fight for their rights to like get married or anything like that, or at least
Right.
in modern history. And so that's why they have a pride, gay pride or LGBTQ pride parade, and a straight pride parade is just dumb. And
I mean, like, I, I hear what they're saying, but I'm just like, if it was the government setting up a straight pride parade, okay, yeah, that's dumb. But if it's just like private individuals with private money that want to hold a little ticker tape parade for it's like, yay, straight people, why am I supposed to care?
right, it's not a big deal.
Like, oh no, straight. There's a bunch of straight people that are like, we like being straight.
I,
Oh
I love
God.
I love
Oh
being
the
straight.
humanity,
Straight
the
is great.
humanity. No, what are we gonna do? Ah, fuck.
Makes being straight makes babies.
Here, I'm gonna go. I just moved Rob into the prep room. I'm gonna go take care of him real quick. I'll be right back.
All right. Darn, I wanted to get his opinion on something. Oh well. We will come back to this in a minute. I think I was. Oh no, I'll hang out here. We'll get Rob on, and then we'll see. We'll see what Rob has to say about this, because he always has a good take on this sort of stuff. Um, please don't hate me. I was born this way. Don't hate the straight pride. Like this is like meme culture, straight up. trollery, like stuff that I don't think people understand. And I did get into some like I guess internet arguments about this, about how oh it's weird, like oh it's like a bad thing to do, like all the normies aren't gonna like it, and I like yeah they're not, but at least it's something, like it's something to do. It's pushing back somehow. Um, so I just thought it was funny. I thought it was it was very interesting um, that this got as big as it did and it got as much attention as it did. And we're talking about it again. I know, yes, but it's fascinating to me to think about, like, why did these things get this much attention? Why do these things seem like they matter? And some of it has to do with news companies essentially dying and needing something like this to get people to click to make them money. Um, some of it has to do with, like I said, the reaction uh, to the event as opposed to the event itself. It's well, why can't straight people have a pride parade? Like, what's so bad about that? I'm not saying that straight people are oppressed or have been oppressed or anything, and Pride isn't saying anything about that either. They're not saying, it's celebrating their sexuality, so why can't somebody who is straight celebrate their sexuality? Oh well. It is what it is. So we will have Rob joining us shortly, I hope. Hopefully the video quality picks up. I don't know what it is with my computer. It just does not seem to want to. I probably need to do some changes to my OBS, but we will get it cleared up for you guys, hopefully. Um, we will go on to the Virginia Beach shooting.
Hey, I got Rob. Okay. Rob is officially working.
Yay!
All right, so
Fuck's sake.
we'll go back to this.
All right, Rob. We were talking about the Straight
What were we
Pride Parade.
talking about?
We were talking about the Straight Pride Parade. Me and Cody actually are pretty much in agreement that we just kind of don't give a fuck, and we don't understand why anyone does.
I think what it is it's a gigantic troll of the
Oh,
LGBT.
you think it's like a troll job? I thought they were being sincere.
No, it's a troll job, and look at how they're treating it.
Okay.
It's a troll job, and the LGBT community is losing its mind, and that's why you do it.
Well,
Well, I mean, what makes it a troll though? Because like everything I've seen about the Straight Pride Parade was all been like just positive things. Like we like being straight. We have Milo as the speaker. Here's a gay man. Like
Milo.
Thank you.
Yes, I know.
Not a giveaway. Hello.
I know. Look, I know it's Milo, but like it's still like who else were they going to get? Were they going to get fucking who's like a famous gay person?
They're
who's
playing it straight.
Yeah, they're playing it very straight.
They're playing it straight. No pun intended, right?
Yeah.
No, never.
All the puns intended.
All of
but
them.
Seriously though, like
Are
they
you
haven't done anything. Like they haven't
this
actually done anything.
Smells of 4chan.
Huh?
This reeks of 4chan.
I mean, it kind of does, but they haven't actually done anything.
But they actually.
No, but they don't have to.
Well,
what they've done. They've thrown a big steaming pile of red meat out on the table.
This is the most casual troll job I've ever seen. If this is a troll job,
they got a permit though.
Yeah. Why wouldn't?
Yeah. I mean,
how hard is that?
That's true.
Well, I don't know. I looked it up in Portland, and like there's money like involved if you want to have a parade where you have to shut down the roads. So I
really?
thinking, I mean, it's not a lot. It's not a ton of money, but
I mean, it's also possible that the whole point, that part of the reason they could be playing it straight, if I was looking at this as cynically as possible, part of the reason that they would play this straight is that they know, like everybody, like I guarantee the people that started the straight pride parade are not confused that the gay pride people are going to be like, oh my god, I can't believe it. But on the other side of that, it's possible that they're just sort of the reason they're playing it straight is so that they can turn to the other side and be like, those guys are insane. We're just trying to have a straight pride parade. If you'd like to participate, here's our PayPal link, for next time, where we're going to make a ton of money on it.
It's
Well,
possible.
here's what because I was thinking about this because I'm super interested in why these things kind of blow up when they do, and then I try to
Sure.
think about it. But when I was thinking about it, I kind of, and this idea has probably been thrown out before, but probably not by any savory characters. But I was thinking like there's this idea, and you guys can tell me if this idea is shit, but it's
Okay.
the idea of
Ready to shit on your idea. Go.
inclusive exclusivity. So basically, they say, well, we include everybody, but in reality, there's still that one group of people they don't include. So
Well, I
like
think even
the
with
the
gay pride,
the
it's always
LG
sort of
well the LGBTQ acronym itself is a perfect example of that, where like they say they want the S added in there, whereas the straight, like if you're gonna be, you're so inclusive, you talk a big game about being inclusive, but you're excluding this group here.
Not only that, they even exclude gays who, let's say, supported Israel. They
Well, I mean, it's
exclude
like this.
gays.
It's like the snooty inclusivity, because this is actually something that I heard about recently when Tim was talking about Sweden again, because they were having a whole bunch of like issues with grenade attacks. Like I think they're becoming the grenade attack capital of Europe. So good for them. Maybe the world actually that isn't at war. Anyway, the reason I'm talking about this is because he mentioned an idea of, I think it's called a bidwa in Sweden. It's basically someone that puts on a face of like including everybody, but behind closed doors, it's like, or not even necessarily behind closed doors. It's just a very snooty, like surface level inclusivity where they like speak all the words of inclusivity, but when they actually do anything, it's just, I mean, yeah, I'm inclusive, but that sort of thing.
Okay, so are you saying the LGBTQ community is the snooty community? Is the snooty one?
Well, I think like you have a little bit of that for everyone, but
Uh-huh.
I wouldn't say that LGBT people in general are, but I would say that the people, like the leaders that are involved with this sort of thing, are 100%.
Okay.
They are 100% going around the place being like, I love everyone except for anyone that disagrees with me,
Well, yeah.
and if you're straight, fuck you.
Well, yeah, it's never the majority. It's never like
Everyone
the
has that,
mass.
yeah.
It's like, well, like it's not like the average, the
Yeah.
LGBTQ person you meet at the bar who's just having drinks.
No.
They're not the crazy ones. It's usually the Twitter verified guys.
Yeah, half the time it's really not even the protesters, because I mean, like everybody uses this like gotcha moments. Whenever you see those videos of someone that'll go talk to protesters and nobody has any fucking clue what they're doing there, like even most of those people don't really get it. Like they're not really bigots; they're just stupid. Like, to put it as politely as I can.
When I look at the people, when you look, all right, let's step back for a second.
Sure.
We have a certain number of people in our community, meaning the United States, who are gay,
Okay.
or lesbian, or bi, or transsexual, whatever.
Sure.
I don't care what the percentage is, but
We'll say 20. If we want to include everything, we'll say 20.
Right. Even if it's 1%, it's for every 1%, you're looking at 3.5 million people. That's a lot of people.
True.
Okay. The people who are engaged, who are members of this community, who already self-select to go to the parade, are going to be non-representative of the community.
True.
They're the politically active crazies. Just to go to the parade, you are way more politically active and way more in your face than a guy who's just holding down a job, living his life or her life, has a partner or has many partners regardless, and just wants to live their life. That's already two different groups of people, and they present very differently.
True.
And then you've got the next level up the line of crazy, which is the leadership that organizes an event like this.
Right.
I mean, do you kind of see where I'm coming from?
Yeah.
There are a lot of folks who live their life, and they're not even in the closet. It's just they're not in your face about it.
Well, I don't
And
think it doesn't seem to me like, because again, I'm a driver. I meet all kinds of people. The
right,
average, the average person or gay person, because I take home a lot of people from the gay clubs at night.
yeah,
It happens. I take home a lot of them, and the
They
average
have
person,
those in Texas?
Yes. Yeah, Texas is Texas is one of those places where there's really, I don't care what stripe you are, what you want, what you're looking for, you can find it somewhere in Texas. I promise.
Well, yeah, Texas is huge.
Yeah, Texas is a big place, man. Anyway, yeah, most of those guys, like, you ask them what's going on, and they maybe, like, if you actually bring up politics for some reason, which I normally don't, but I mean, it happens every now and again. Even if you do, like, most of them are like, yeah, Trump's an asshole, I guess, but much past that, they don't really know what's going on because they don't really care.
right. And so when you look at the folks in the parade, I'm sorry, those people are not representative
No,
of these people by any stretch. And
it does bleed
honestly,
downwards,
the
but
last
only
set
on
of
a very
parades I
surface level.
saw, these people should be cited with indecency in front of a minor. I mean, there were pictures of guys, complete frontal nudity, and there's a kid right there.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the kid twerking video?
Oh, I don't know. No, I wasn't talking about the kid twerking. Even though I heard about that one, I'm just talking like there was a picture of a little kid, and he looked in some direction, and you can tell the guy who's got the back to the person taking the picture ain't got nothing on.
Right.
And the kid's got this look on his face like, ugh, which is a normal reaction when you've got somebody's doodads hanging out al flagrante.
Well, they're not
So,
exactly family friendly, in my opinion.
yeah, I don't know. I'd like to
Pride
figure out.
never really has been.
Yeah, no, it never was. I mean, and
Which is
it
fine.
never.
There's a reason they get permits. But yeah.
Yeah, and
Well-
the thing is, so what are you doing bringing your kids to this?
Yeah, seriously.
Well, in Portland,
Blame the parents on that one.
we have
Yeah.
something every year where it's a naked bike ride, and people ride bikes naked through town.
Why?
Because they.
Yes,
'cause they-
Gomorrah on the Pacific.
It's Portland, man.
Yeah,
Is
need a
it
reason.
like for is it for well, I'm trying to understand why you would even want to. Is it like for a charity?
I don't think so. You just ride
Well,
around
at
on your
least
bike
if it was, 'cause
naked.
at least if it was for a charity, I could get it. Because that's like, okay, we're drawing a whole bunch of attention because, titties.
Well, they're not the kind of titties you necessarily want to see.
Oh.
no, these
Have
are
you
not.
ever-
have you ever been to,
models
like-
on-
Yeah, have you ever been to like a nudist beach or any event like that or something?
Yes, it will leave.
There's hot
No,
nudists.
but I'm
They
sure it would
exist.
leave you scarred for life.
Yeah, some of them, but like
Hot nude- Hashtag hot nudists exist.
the majority of people aren't that attractive, and you don't want to see them naked.
I maintain that hashtag hot nudists exist, and you're a bigot.
They do, but like every section of society or sector of society, the hot ones are the minority. Hashtag protect hot minorities, I guess. A minority I can get behind.
Get
Hashtag
behind.
get more hot
get
girls
in
out of
front,
these events.
get on top. Right, we get it.
Dun, dun, dun. Sorry, ladies, I'm married.
I'm
Yeah,
not ladies.
I thought.
I'm joking.
Right.
Don't go away.
You're creepy. I thought. Yeah, I just
I'm
thought
spoken
this
for.
was.
Mrs. Righty said so.
I just thought the whole straight pride parade thing was hilarious and like a great satire, and went
Yes.
off
Yeah.
exactly as they thought it would. And I
Like,
think
I think it's a little dumb
What it is
when
is,
it's taken
and I'm
seriously, but
enjoying
yeah.
watching all the angst it's causing. Because really, by announcing that straight pride parade, by attacking the people doing it, you're proving the point.
right.
Oh yeah,
That
no,
That's the
there's
point.
definitely because like if everybody had just left it alone and been like, yeah, there's a straight pride parade, yeah, whatever, like it literally would have just fizzled out.
What was that?
exactly.
There was a book written in like, I don't know. It was written in England during the Industrial Revolution where they it was satire, but they decided that the way to solve both the orphan problem, like the orphan children problem, and the food problem was to eat
Oh god.
orphans. What was that? There was a
Oh
book.
no, that wasn't the book. That was an indecent proposal.
I'm
Yeah.
waiting to see how this
No,
ties in.
that wasn't.
No.
That's not
And
right.
this was what it is this was what to do with all the orphans of the Irish famine, potato famine.
Well, dude,
Because
once the
Yes.
black plague hits LA, it might not be a like a mystery thing how that works. Is we're gonna find out with the
right.
homeless
But
population.
no, but what the guy was saying, he was watching the indifference of the British or the English
Okay.
toward the plight of the Irish. And he said, and some people were actually complaining about, the refugees from Ireland who showed up on their shores, who were part of this empire and were asking for food because they'd been starved. And what he penned this as a way to shame the society as a whole.
Right. It was
Gotcha.
a satirical piece to kind of like wake people up to
Yes.
a real problem that was going on. And to me, I'm
Yes.
not saying this is exactly the same because the stakes aren't as nearly as high as like famine, but I thought
Yes.
it was something like in a similar sort of like satirical way. Like, hey, it's okay to,
Yes.
like the whole it's okay to be white. Like,
Yeah.
No,
why,
no.
like on the face of it, like it's 100% like, yeah, it's okay to be white. Like, why is there anything wrong with that?
Well, yeah, but the thing is really in some circles on the what I would call the regressive end of things,
There are some areas where it actually isn't okay to be white.
that's exactly right. They think
Well, yeah.
that
That does exist. It's not a huge sector, but it's definitely there.
no, but it's a very loud sector, and this is a
True.
sector that has a fairly large claim to academia, which is why we care. Because
Yeah.
whatever's happening on the college campus today, you're going to see in the office in 5 years, and 10 years from now, a lot of them are going to be managers.
Well,
So-
don't worry. The millennials can't fucking get jobs, so I think we're gonna. I think we're good.
They can't get paid
But-
enough.
I think you would be surprised because it's not the completely radicalized ones who they don't get the jobs, but the ones who are sympathetic. You understand?
True.
As a millennial with a job.
You're boiling the frog slowly.
Oh no, I'm a millennial with a job too, but I also recognize that I'm kind of the exception.
Yeah.
Like I'm working towards like I'm looking at the market. I'm saying what skills do I need to succeed in this market, and I'm trying to adhere. Whereas
Yeah.
most of my generation is sort of like what, but I got the feminist dance theory degree. What? Why isn't this good for anything? What do you mean?
Right.
How did you think that was a good idea?
Followed my passion.
Yeah.
Like seriously, yeah,
Well,
great. Follow your passion. Now figure out how the fuck to sell it.
I don't know about you, but I was always told like, well, go to college and like just do what you like, and you'll figure it out when.
Right.
And
Well,
that's like the
horrible
worst
Horrible
advice.
Holy shit,
Well-
that is the worst. Like, because that was my entire generation, and that is the worst advice ever.
Well, the problem is your generation got the same advice mine did. And when I was going to school, you could pay for a year's worth of college for $1,200
Yeah.
at a state university. You could earn that $1,200 working the whole summer. You dig?
Yeah.
And so it was, go ahead, try something, it'll work out, who cares?
That's what I did.
Now- Yeah. And the thing is that that's okay. But now, when you're coming out of college with $100,000 worth of debt
Yeah, you have
or
to know what to do
more,
with it.
it's not okay.
Yeah. I've
Whole, you
even
know,
started seeing stories where people that just
Hey guys, I'll
they
be right
can't pay
back.
back. Sorry.
all right.
Yeah, I've even started seeing stories where people that just can't pay back their debt, instead of staying in America and even trying to pay it off, since it's like the only thing that you can't default on, it's the only form of debt you can't default on.
Yes.
They've just
Oh,
gone
great.
ahead and been like, you know what? Fuck this place. I'm gonna go live in Canada. I'm gonna go live in the UK. I'm gonna go live in Sweden. I'm gonna go live in Japan. Fuck this place.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yep. Australia is looking for people. New Zealand is looking for people.
All right,
like
I'm back.
I can't even blame them. Like I've had some
I
people
don't.
compare them to I've had some people compare them to parasites, but it's like, dude, if you got like $100,000 of debt with that you cannot default on with huge margins, that's going to eat into your SSI when you're old, I can't blame you for running.
No.
Seriously, like I don't care what stupid degree you got. Like that's unreasonable.
Well, yes.
Like if the people that were sending out the loan didn't want people, like if you don't like the
The
terms of the loan,
federal government.
you need to like make the terms of the loan reasonable, or people are just going to leave. And if they do, that's not on them. That's on the loaner at that point. Sorry, man.
Or they're
You should have put the terms such that you could actually get your money back, because you can't just force them to pay with no way out, unlike every other form of debt, because they're just going to leave because they can. And what are you going to do about it? Fucking stop them from leaving the country? Fuck you.
well,
Well,
it's
gee, then build the wall takes on a whole new meaning, doesn't it?
Yeah, seriously. Build the wall to keep them inside.
well with the student loans, it's like mostly the federal government that granted a lot of those loans. So
Well, yeah, they've been subsidizing, like, well, because that's one of the major problems with the centralization thing is they give out all these student loans. They turn around and say, okay, these are all the things we need, and then they never update the list. Like they never update it. So it ends up being that they're like subsidizing all of these fucking degrees that don't go anywhere, and then they're shocked that they can't get the money back.
well, yeah,
It's
they
like,
don't
yeah,
they
guys,
they essentially allow you to defer payments practically forever. There's no
Yeah.
like
yeah, and until you're fucking like septuagenarian and like trying to collect SSI, and then like we really need that money back.
Now.
Yeah, and it's like, how about you go fuck yourself? I'm old. Like once you're on a fucking fixed income, I'm sorry. Like as far as I'm concerned, your fucking money that's your money. Like it's not even that much. It's like 1,000.
It's a little bit more than that, but yeah.
It's not impressive. Like you're not living large.
No. No, you're not. Especially if you're living in a large city.
Yeah,
oh yeah, screw that. I'm glad I graduated college without debt. Thank goodness. Was
I'm
not
actually
was not
I'm
easy.
circumventing college entirely. I'm working on my certifications so that I can get a job in IT.
There you go. Heck
There you
yeah.
go.
Like, because I really just don't want to deal with college. I don't want to deal with the debt. I don't want to deal with the fucking college culture. Like, I just don't want to deal with it. I can go around the entire thing.
Let's put it this way. What's going to happen is, I think when it comes to schooling, you're going to see the rise of college online.
Yeah, that's
And,
actually what I'm doing. I'm checking out a place called Lambda. It's online. It's an online school that I don't know if they do certification, but they basically do web dev training where they'll teach you CSS, they'll teach you HTML, and they'll teach you JavaScript. So at the
okay.
end, you'll be able to actually get your own certifications. Like I said, I don't know if they actually do them. I hope they
Hmm.
do. But regardless, if I have all the skills to do the certification, who fucking cares? I'll just pay for the test if I can pass it.
Yep.
So yeah, kind of fuck it. I'm also learning because what I'm actually interested in is security. I'm actually getting certification right now for as a cracker, as like an actual cracker, someone that is like designated to no, that's designated to actually intentionally hack into systems to test defenses. So yeah,
No, it's just
That's so you're playing the offensive side of the cybersecurity world.
right. And
s-
you need to know both sides, but my personal interest is on the offensive
stop
side because
throwing out
it's
racial
fun.
slurs,
Wait, what?
you cracker.
Oh, shut the fuck up. All right, sorry, ethical hacker. My bad.
There you go.
White
That's
hat.
better.
That's like the colloquial term.
White
The
hat is
term
also racist.
the term I keep
No, no, the
I
sheriff wore a white hat. Not every sheriff was racist.
the real question is, because a white hat, I mean, that's about white people, so that's not racist,
I said
obviously.
hat,
Is
not
is
her.
black hat? Because it implies that black things are bad
Oh
and
yeah, there you
criminal.
go.
Well, the villain always wore a black hat in the old John Wayne movies.
And the old John Wayne movies were racist.
No,
Dun,
they
dun, dun.
weren't.
Dun, dun,
Racist.
dun, 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 dun.
We need like a. Can we get like a race? We need like a theme song for racism, so that
We need we
anytime anyone gets accused of racism, they just instantly start playing that, like some
yeah,
sort of
we
like
need
high tension thing.
Brilliant.
theme music for sure. We need some music.
Yes, racism needs theme music.
But let's work on like
What was
actual
the
video
song from
quality first.
Dragnet?
Now I'm just wondering who's gonna write the racist theme song.
Oh my God! I just realized the. Did either of you ever watch Hogan's Heroes?
No.
Nope.
Go find that on YouTube, and like the next time we do this, we'll talk. That would be a killer melody for the racist theme song.
Okay. Am I looking up Hogan's Heroes intro?
Yeah.
Okay. Intro to Hogan's Heroes. Let's hear it. The stream can't hear it right now, but I'm just listening to it.
Yeah,
All right.
I'll look it up later because
We'll save it as a surprise for next time.
any audio that comes through will come onto the stream. Yes.
So anyway, moving on.
Yes, moving on. We've talked about the straight pride parade enough. Talked it to death. Though I did, Rob. Let me ask you about the
This is what we're using
inclusive
for the fucking
inclusive
racism.
exclusivity. Like,
Yes.
what do you think of that idea? Because to me, like when I was thinking about it and I was trying to like figure it out and play with the idea, it kind of felt like an alt-right idea. So I was like, that's
No.
But-
Inclusive exclusivity is really what we call well, it could be either
I'll be right
side.
back.
No, they all right makes no what's the right word here? It makes no apologies to it being overtly exclusive.
I just meant like the concept, like there's a conspiracy of like the LGBTQ community to exclude straight people.
So in other words,
Something like that.
Okay. So in other words, the concept of there being an exclusive inclusivity in the society as perpetuated by the left. And is that theory an alt-right theory? No, I don't think it is, because I think it's something that it exists. I've seen it. Because with the new intersectional hierarchy of, the grievance hierarchy, whoever winds up at the bottom of that pyramid is by default on the outs. And
because
both of you qualify.
I was thinking like, well, with this straight pride parade, like if you think of the LGBTQ acronym, like they want to include everybody. Like they don't say, we're excluding straight people. They don't say that. They say, well, we include everybody, except for they just leave one out. They don't say we're specifically excluding it. And at pride parades, you can go and you can be in the parade as a straight person. That's totally fine. But like in like I guess in the nomenclature, like in the culture, like the words they use and stuff, it's like what do you like even the phrase like people of color, like if you think about it, what does that really mean? Like who is a person of color? And
not
it's
white people.
Yeah, not white people.
Caucasian.
But like white is a color. So you can have, it's okay, people of color are great, and you can have like a Latino pride parade or
Excuse me,
Latinx pride parade or whatever, or you can say Latino pride or I'm proud of my culture as a Latino, but as soon as you say, well, I'm proud of my culture as a white person, which kind of was why I was thinking this is like an alt-right idea. But anyway, like I do think
No, I don't think
there's
it is.
some
'Cause
truth to it, though.
I
I
I
mean,
don't.
think
the
there's
I don't
alt-right
think
there's
would
an
it's an
agree
interesting
to
all-right
it.
idea
I think there's a
because
very interesting aspect to the idea of white pride in the future. Mostly, and I know that sentence sounds horrible. But the main thing is like think about it in about like imagine 40 years from now, right? When we're all going to be fucking old. Um, the kids that are
yeah,
coming
and
up
I'll
right now,
probably be dead.
like the kids that are coming up right now, none of them really have a connection to World War II. Like all of us, like none of us really do either. But
Yeah, I
like at
don't.
least we had like grandparents that participated in World War II that knew about World War II that actually like have like a tangential connection. The kids
Well,
coming up
Mike,
in the next two generations don't.
right.
So I don't
I'm a
think it's
little
going to be
older
that
than you
weird to
guys.
have white
My
pride.
parents were in World War II,
Yeah. Yeah,
so
all I'm saying is I think that the kids once like the specter of World War II like goes away, I think it's really going to be the case that we're going to start seeing, especially with all these Black Pride things, you're going to have a whole bunch of white kids looking around being like, "Where's ours? Like we didn't." Like, they don't have the same context, and they're not going to because eventually it's going to finally get pushed back and seen for what it is. That this
yeah.
isn't like,
And 40 years from now, calling someone a Nazi is going to be completely meaningless.
oh, it's going to be cringe. It's going to be cringe as fuck. It already kind of is.
It
Well,
is
I say
cringe.
I wouldn't wait 40 years. Hopefully, it's more like
I
5.
think they've already reached
Oh,
cringe.
yeah, I think the calling people literal Nazis at this point has already like give it like 2 years. That's going to be gone, in my opinion. It's already sort of even on the left. It's kind of like, for the most part.
Well,
Obviously, the leadership still does it, but the average lefty still views calling someone a literal Nazi as like, are they though?
well,
Well,
it's
think
been
about
played
it
out.
this way:
Yeah, it's been played out.
the current president has caused that particular gland to spew out
Yeah,
everything it has.
He lanced that
To
boil.
the point that it's got,
oh yeah,
uh,
they love calling Trump a Nazi. It's like their
oh
favorite thing
yeah,
to do.
oh yeah. And so where I'm coming from with that is you've got exhaustion has set in, and it really has. It's a cultural exhaustion when it comes to that topic. People don't want to hear it anymore.
Well, yeah, because it was always sort of like at least when it was fresh, sort of fresh, because we already did the Red Scare, we did the Nazi Scare, we did the German Scare, like we've already done all this, but not with this generation. So at least when it was fresh, I think most people were at least willing to play along and be like, yeah, they're Nazis, because they weren't really serious about it. It was just like a hyperbolic exaggeration for most people.
Hmm.
Um, but now that it's becoming so serious, those same people are like, yeah, I didn't mean it that seriously. This is actually kind of stupid. You guys are taking it too far.
Right. Yeah, I thought that was an interesting idea that I wanted to play around with. That the inclusive crowd is like they're just covert about their exclusive, like their who they're excluding. Like they say we include
No,
everybody, but
I think that's totally fair, actually.
I think
not
that's
many
very
people.
fair. I just don't understand your trying to give it an alt-right angle. That doesn't make sense to
No,
me.
I didn't. I
I
was
think I sort
wondering.
of see where he's coming from,
Well, because
but
it's like the alt right is like obsessed with this conspiracy to get white people, and I don't think that's necessarily true. I do think there are people that hate white people, but there's people that hate black people and like
I think there's
Chinese
there's black
Chinese
people
that
that
hate
hate black
Korean
people.
people. You know, like people don't need
Well, I've
a lot
always
of excuses to hate each other.
I think it's worth just keeping in perspective like the number of people we're talking about because like come up with the most ridiculous idea in your head of like an action of a position someone could take. There is someone somewhere that believes it. All right,
Yeah.
someone fucking believes it. So if one person believes it, who fucking cares? It's only a problem if it starts being like at least a vocal minority, which is kind of what we're seeing right now, and a shrinking vocal minority as far as I can tell. At least if we're talking about the real crazies.
Yes.
Because I mean, I think people are right to point out that the progressive movement, if you will, is kind of growing, but it really depends on what sectors you're looking at. Because the progressive movement is growing, but it's also moderating, is what I'm saying.
I think it's radicalized.
The parts that you're looking at, I agree with you, because I know, because we look at the same thing, so I know what you're looking at. But it seems to me that the average person inside the movement is starting to step back a little bit and go, okay, this is starting to get a little bit nuts. And then the people at the top, the leadership that we were talking, the non-representative sample, right?
Yeah.
The people at the top are saying, no, we need to go even harder, we need to go even faster, and it's starting to really throw people off the wheel. So as the progressive movement is moderating and the average progressive is becoming less radical, I think that's what's allowing them to actually start taking in numbers. Because true, like quote unquote, true visionaries very often aren't very good at keeping members. They're good at attracting members. They're very bad at keeping them. So,
Well, I think with that, if that's true, that you'll see like a more, I don't know, concentrated group of people, and that I think is more dangerous than like a large mass of people. Because a large mass of people is very obvious and you can see it, but like a small concentrated group of people working towards something is very, I guess, dangerous. Would kind of,
well,
because
in about
you'll
the
get the
next 10 years, they're all going to be dead of bubonic plague,
you'll get
thankfully.
the dedicated true believers in progressivism, and they will
Yeah,
be the ones that are like they'll all know each other and they'll be able to, like, I don't know, organize better. Because if you try to organize like a large group of people to do something, that's not easy. But if you only have, like, say, like a 10-person team, you can get a lot done and
true.
be more in step with each other. And it doesn't really take that, like, you can get those 10 people to have a larger group of people do small things that just seem normal, that will
Well,
ultimately result in something much more dangerous. Or
I'm hoping that eventually we're going to be able to point
come
out,
here.
because this is something that Peterson points out, and that the left is mentally very bad at picking things apart. They're very bad at saying that someone that agrees with this idea is going too far. They're very bad at drawing boundaries, right? In their own
Right.
mind, in their own thinking. It's a skill that if you're not born with it, you have to learn. Um, it's an important skill, and being able to dissolve those boundaries is also something that's an important skill to have. Um, but anyway, the point is, I think that the problem we're seeing right now is that the left is having a very hard time looking at this section of the population and going, these guys are going too far, because all of these ideas are so new and fresh that they're not really able to say which idea is taking it too far. They're kind of in a position where they want to see through all of them, like just try everything and just see what works. And that's sort of the strategy the left has used for a long time. Because I mean, and I'm not even trying to be rude; it's just being real about it. It, you know, if you don't know how to solve a problem, try everything isn't the worst strategy. It's not the most effective strategy, but it could be worse.
Okay, I'll
Um,
be right back, guys.
yeah, I don't know. I'm just sort of thinking this through on the fly, but yeah, it just seems like I don't know if we're ever going to get to the point where the left is actually going to be able to do what the right has done with the Nazis and be like, okay, so here's the realm of what we know works, and then those crazies over there, and here's how we're going to go forward. Because it seems to me that the point of the left is to just throw a whole bunch of shit at the wall, and then the right is supposed to come back in the back and be like, okay, that spaghetti noodle's stupid. That one fell off, so we know that one's dumb. That one looks kind of cool. Let's use that idea. Like the right acts as a filter for all the stuff that the left says, in my opinion. So hopefully, at some point, we can actually relegate the true progressives to the dustbin of history. That'd be great. I don't know if it's going to happen, but then hopefully.
I'm back. Hello.
Hello. I think I think Rob has died.
No, Rob has not died. Rob is just listening, and it's a little bit past. It's 10:30, 10:40 here, and
Gotcha.
I'm
Oh,
fading a
wow.
little bit. I apologize for that.
Are you tired?
That's typically
Yeah,
when
Is
I've been
I
I've been
fade
Is
having
too.
some
little
fun
Robbie
this morning.
tired?
Yeah, Rob is tired. Rob's been up since 5 this morning. So, you know, I kind of see it this way. I hear what you're saying, how you're saying that the people on the street are moderating, even though the leadership is hard over crazy, and even saying we got to push faster. But the thing is they're getting people elected who are crazier and hard over faster types.
True.
Like look at the crop of idiots in the Congress, or just recently a councilwoman in Colorado. I forget in which particular local government, but she basically wants community property by any means necessary. I mean, and I'm talking.
Communists have always wanted that. I'm not sure why we're surprised.
Yeah. So no, but not quite this openly. She did not use the word communism, but she just used the definition of it in what she was saying we want.
Gotcha.
And she won. So I'm not. I think what might look. I don't know how much. I think people are maybe getting involved and stepping away because they're not liking what they see. But the problem is, it looks like there's always fresh cohorts being pulled in who have that revolutionary zeal because the school systems are pumping it out. They're teaching it as viable.
I think you're going to always see at least some of that, but you
yeah,
also
but not. Yeah, but I mean, I remember nowhere near as the Red Scare was already 20 years over by the time I was going to high school.
Sure.
And it was never like this.
True. Well, I mean, look, but you got to admit there are still people that are still kind of in the Red Scare mindset, where it's like there's communists everywhere. They're trying to take over the world. Like you're always going to have those populations are always going to grow. The question is, are they growing to a problematic size or are they shrinking to a manageable size? And I think we're seeing progressivism shrinking.
Okay, that's interesting. I think they're growing. You think they're shrinking.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking.
When it comes to spheres of influence, because what I'm looking at is, yes, are these people getting in and getting elected? Yes. But how long? The question becomes, all right, yes, that's a problem. How long is the problem actually going to last? Right?
You're saying that these people are so out to lunch that they get their one-shot deal.
No. I'm saying every generation needs a new wave of sustainability. Because the next generation is slated to be, last I heard, the most conservative generation since the 50s, like comparatively. Which okay, like that doesn't even surprise me with how crazy my generation was. Like, what am I supposed to say? That doesn't make sense. It does. Like,
well, yes, because when you're older brothers and sisters, and you're,
your mother and father, like we got to take on the Nazis. The Nazis are everywhere. Like yeah, it makes sense that they're going to be like, all right, mom, chill out. Like, just let's
have another dude, mom.
Can we please just? Can I please just have lunch? I'm trying to get to soccer practice. Like. Seriously, it makes perfect sense that eventually the kids are going to look at the stupid ideas of parents and be like, all right, this doesn't actually make any sense. Can we just chill?
Yeah, and even though we're being taught it at school, we know that mom thinks it's a good idea. So
right, it's becoming sort of the same situation. Like the whole like abstinence is cool thing that happened, or like don't do drugs, kids. Like when the Dare people would come out. And like, you don't want to be like that loser over there, right? You want to be like Sarah up here, and she goes into some fucking stupid rap. And all the kids are like, "Oh my god, make it stop, please, make it stop."
The whole like trying to be, I'm one of you kids. What's up, fellow kids?
I think progressivism is finally getting to the like hello fellow kids stage, where the kids are looking at it and being like, "This is fucking stupid." So I'm not seeing where they like recruit a new generation of people from, because the new generation of people seems to think that they're fucking stupid.
Well, they do now, but I mean, all it takes is someone to actually make those ideas cool.
I mean, okay, who the fuck is gonna make progressivism cool? Like, you can't say things to your friend because he's black and you're white, so shut the fuck up. Yeah, Like, how are you supposed to make that fucking cool? Like, it was only cool
I
to
don't
my
know.
generation
It
because
got
there's a lot
cool.
of fucking losers in my generation. Like, let's be real. That's why it's cool. It's because my generation is a lot of fucking losers, and losers come up with a lot of fucking ideas that are real stupid.
There's a point
Damn it,
there.
Karl Marx.
Like, I'm just saying, like, if you don't have shit, you come up with a way to have shit. Like, you're
Well,
gonna figure out your way to compete in society,
you come up
even
with
if
a
you're a
way.
total loser.
Well, yeah, I think for me mostly the draw that people have towards like socialism and communism is that they all get participation trophies. It's you're the only reason you're not succeeding is because somebody else is keeping you down. They're
Well,
told
actually,
that a
no.
lot.
It's
I think
called
I
that.
just figured out.
The short word for that is envy.
I think I actually just figured out the best way to explain what I feel like I'm seeing to Rob, and it's more like yes, they're freaking out and everything's going crazy, but to me it sounds like a death rattle. To me,
Good
it
boy.
sounds like they're freaking out because they know that they're about to die.
I think there's some. No, I've had that thought myself in the past. I mean, because when I see some things that are going on, and I'm like, that stinks of desperation, which is the death rattle. But
Oh, but this isn't just desperation. This is like we're like because people there's real world effects now. People are getting laid off. Companies are dying. Like people's livelihoods are at risk now. So they're freaking out and they're trying to push as hard as they can, and it's not working. Not as far as I can tell.
Well,
right,
the Trump administration is looking into putting money into Oregon, if that tells you anything about where we're at.
Money
yeah,
into Oregon for what?
To try
Cows?
to win the state.
when
Oh, okay, gotcha.
The
Yeah,
state,
and
the
I've already
state,
heard a whole bunch of people.
the state that has not
that's
voted for a Republican in over like 30 years.
Dude, I've heard people talking about like on the progressive side because I like to go look at what they're talking about every now and again. Because I'm definitely not a progressive, but I am on the left, so it's not that hard for me to listen to their talking point. Um, I know it is for a lot of people on the right. They just listen and halfway through they're just like, "This is fucking stupid."
I
So
know
yeah,
it literally hurts my ears sometimes.
it doesn't because I used to listen to it all the time. So for me, it's more just like, yeah, I hear what you're saying. You're still wrong, but yeah, continue.
All right, what are
Um,
they saying? Translate it for us.
the easiest way to put it is the reason that they're talking about the electoral college is that they're trying to frame it as they want to the Republicans want to make it so that the person that didn't win the popular vote wins the elections. Like guys, they're trying to make it so you can't just have the cities decide the election. And then I've had some people talk about population distribution. Only 26% of the population lives in the top 100 cities. And it's like, yes, that's true, but why would I campaign anywhere except those cities then?
correct.
Well, it's
Like dollar for
not
vote,
everybody
there's no
votes.
reason. Well, I mean, yeah, exactly. But dollar for vote, why would I ever go? Why would I ever leave the city if you know, it's
One
literally just trying to get people to vote for me? Put all the
and
money into the cities and try and suppress the vote everywhere else by
well,
just not caring about their issues, so they don't want to vote.
they want to. Now they're having a fit over including the question, "Are you a citizen?" on the census because the way you determine how many representatives you get in Congress is the population size of the state, and so
Right?
that doesn't mean they're all citizens. It's just the number of people that live there.
Uh, I mean,
Right.
I guess, but why would I represent like a huge population if it like? Because again, I'm on the left, but it's like if we're talking about matters of state,
Well,
well,
it's not that
like
they're representing the illegal immigrants. It's that uh, they're getting
well, if we're giving them extra
additional
representatives over it, it's
seats.
kind of it.
Yeah,
No, what by counting noses and including the noses of the illegals, you're basically saying we're giving the illegals a vote indirectly by creating more Congress critters from that particular state.
right. They
Right.
have representatives essentially, so they get a say.
And I'm not saying the illegals should get no say, but not in lawmaking.
They should get no say in the political process.
Well, right. Obviously, I'm not wanting them to be abused. I don't want them to be taken advantage of.
Right.
But when it comes to lawmaking, when it comes to representatives, when it comes to anything, like once we're talking about policy, no, dude, you need to get your papers. Then we'll talk. Like I'm happy for you to get your shit sorted out. I'll even, if you want help, I'll even help you. I have no problem with that. But you still got to do it.
Yep. Well, no, I'm kind of looking at it. There's also a justice question here. You have people who came over here legally, and I've been waiting in line legally for years. And
that's a very good argument. The radical left does not give two shits about, because it's not about, they don't really care about the legal ones because they already view them as privileged.
Yes. But I was kind of like just taking the standpoint of,
gotcha.
If you get the whole country in on this discussion and not just the radical left. Yes. Well, with that in mind, if we want to like try to see that I realize we're putting this through the view of the radical left. I'm just trying to figure out whatever happened to what I think of as the Che Guevara, not the Che Guevara. What was the name of the guy? He organized the farm workers of Latin descent.
Hugo Chavez.
In California. Hugo Chavez. Whatever became to that radical left, because they were all for strong borders, and they're gone.
Well, I think those guys understood that, like, you need to define, like, if you're going to have everything centralized, like, you need everything, centralized. Like, you can't just sort of centralize it, and part of centralization is knowing your population and where they are, what they're doing.
Yep.
Like what they're producing, where the things are going. Like it has to be very organized. And yes, your population is part of that organization.
Yes.
So what do you guys think about this? Because I've been playing with this idea a little bit. I think we are, how they always say, oh, the party switched. And I think on some level the parties did switch a little bit. There was a party shift. Do you think maybe we're currently in another shift like that? Because, like you said, like the Democrats were strong borders before.
Well, the parties have shifted in the following way. And what's really interesting is it wasn't done, this was kind of done organically. Because